match for a good blaster at your side.
Welcome to Hokey Religion, the Star Wars podcast. This is Tyler.
This is Michael.
Welcome to episode...
What happened to the intro?
I got lost in my own head for a second. I was like, wait a minute. How do I start this again? I completely blanked on what am I supposed to say first. We did take a break from last episode, so I think...
Yes, we did.
Taking one break.
Okay, one break is enough to completely forget everything. The thing that we've done for 100 episodes now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
You know what was going through my head while the intro was playing? Why do we do this? Why do we continue to record this show? That's what was going through my head.
When you're like, someone's like setting you up like for a presentation or for like talking on a call
and you prepared,
yeah. And you prepared, and then they go to you and you're like, wait a minute, what was I supposed to do?
Who am I?
What happens now?
Where am I?
How do words good?
Your brain goes completely dead?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
So
you want to try it again, or do you want to?
No, we're good.
Okay.
Hokey Religion Star Wars podcast. This is Tyler. That's Michael. Welcome to episode 101.
Yes.
A very important episode that I think was worth waiting to not record last time since nothing had happened.
Yes, and you know why this is an important episode? It's an important episode for two reasons. First reason, there's a lot of Star Wars news.
That's true.
Second reason is we made it past episode 100.
This is true. We didn't.
We've been
set everything on fire.
Okay, well, I have been saying the whole time that we were going to end it after 100, but here we are.
We realized we invested in all this equipment and it just wasn't worth setting it on fire. So
yes, that's why we continue to do this.
Yeah, that's the only
Not because
reason.
it's fun, because we have the equipment.
Yep. When you have
paid for it.
You bought the rice cooker, so now you just make rice. You don't want rice, but you just keep making it. That's all you have is rice.
Oh my God, that's exactly what I did the other night.
I've got this rice cooker, so
I have a bag of rice in my pantry. I thought I have to get rid of this.
The only way you can get rid of it is you have to cook it.
I've got to cook it.
Eat it. There's no choices. There's nothing else you can do about it.
Although I did put some olive oil and salt and pepper and a little bit of lime juice in there. And some...
Good job.
I want to say... What's it called? The C word.
Cumin.
I put the C word in it.
Oh, no. That's not what goes in rice.
Why do I keep wanting to say Chipotle? That's not it.
That's also an
cilantro.
Option. Oh, okay.
That's the other C word.
The other C word.
I put the other C word in it, and it was good. Anyway.
Good job.
Thank you.
Rice tips.
Rice
welcome to Hokey Religion.
This is our segment, Rice Tips. Hey, welcome to Rice Tips. We got some rice tips to put inside you. Just the tip.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
That's our tagline, just the tip.
Just the tip. That's it. It's just a rice tip. Well, another thing that's happened, other than making it past 100 episodes, is during having skipped an episode, it was our anniversary of the podcast. We've been doing this for 4 years. 4 years.
2015. Yeah, you're right.
4 years.
Wow.
So not only 100 episodes, if you think that's long, it's also been 4 years.
4 years of this. 4 years of rice tips. Go back and listen to all the rice tips we've given.
We have had to have
all the backwards men, all the rice tips.
At some point, we have had to have talked about rice in 4 years. There's no way we haven't.
What was the thing about? Did we do an episode about pizza awards or something like that?
That was like episode
pizza trophies
6 or something. That was real.
Right.
That was like within the first 10. Yeah.
Some of these titles just stick in my head.
Yeah, I think the episode was called Pizza Trophy or something like that.
I don't remember what it was about.
Oh gosh. Well,
4 years.
We should probably talk about the giant things that have happened regarding Star Wars in the last week.
Yes.
Go for it.
We should. 1, there's a movie coming. 2, there's a TV show coming. 3, there's a TV show coming. And 4, there's another TV show coming. The end. And a hotel. The end. And a park is opening in a day. The end. That's everything, right?
Something else.
Am I missing something? No, that's it. That's it. Oh, and then there's another TV show and another TV show.
There's like 5 TV shows. Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about the TV shows.
Oh, okay.
Resistance season 2
yes.
is happening and has been confirmed to be the last season.
Yes.
That it was always planned to be a short run.
Did we talk about this already? I can't remember.
I don't believe so.
Well, I know you and I talked offline about how they're not going to paint themselves into a corner with this again, like they did with Rebels, where they're like being kind of boxed in by the timeline.
Early on, right? Is like they're going to catch up really fast to the timeline. What are they going to do?
Right.
Well, apparently the plan was never to.
The solution is just don't do it. Apparently,
the solution is stop making nonsense,
which is good.
Yeah,
I think for them to know that this is the end and to be able to write that season around that, that this is the end, and not bump into some of the other stuff we're going to see in comics and books and things.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a great idea.
It comes out. It airs October 6th at 10 p.m. And the second season will take place during the events of The Last Jedi, leading up to the Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
So I guess with that coming out on the 6th, I wonder. They're
only going to be probably a couple episodes in, but by the time Mandalorian hits,
that's what I was just thinking. Like when the movie comes out,
if it's an episode,
they won't be through. They won't be done with the season.
Right.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
So the trailer looked really good.
Yeah, it
especially
did.
Now, them visiting other planets and getting to go other places now that they've entered hyperspace at the end of the last season. And you have the whole storyline, which I find really interesting, of and I can't remember her name, but the girl that joined the First Order.
Oh yeah, she's a pilot now.
Reluctantly joined the First Order, and now she's a pilot for them.
So they hinted at some of where her storyline is. Like it sounds like she's still conflicted about where she stands.
Right.
According to the trailer. I don't remember her name either. We never remember names on this stupid show.
No.
The names are stupid, not us. The show's great. I can't speak.
The show got good.
The show is great.
I
like that. Yeah, I like that they're not trapped on that planet. They're not all just stuck on a station. I mean, they're still on the station, but the station's moving now. It's, it can go to other systems and experience other things. Yeah, I think it'll be really cool. I'm excited for it. I didn't want to like the show, but as I've said before, I was really surprised about how good it is, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, and that's what I was, like we talked way back, right? Like they were stuck on that platform, so how much story could you get out of it? But I thought they took the story in a really interesting direction.
Yeah, true.
Kind of like the same thing I enjoyed with Alphabet Squadron, where I really enjoy that confusion and conflicting thoughts of the First Order or the Empire, either way you take it, of like kind of agreeing with them, but you don't really have the whole picture. So like how people actually became part of the Empire or part of the First Order. Like it's not all brainwashing and, being brought up from birth and, being trained as a stormtrooper. There are people that legitimately sided with them because they agreed in their policies that they saw or that they were being presented.
Right.
From a political standpoint.
Right.
So they joined it thinking that, and then obviously eventually, like in Alphabet Squadron, saw what they were actually doing and how it was all just driven by a madman.
Eventually, yeah. It didn't get there as quickly as it did with the Empire, it seemed like. Like we talked about before, the First Order is more subtle with some of their tactics. At least they were up until the destruction of the Senate.
Right.
With Starkiller Base and some of the other things that they started doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've said that before too, where it was kind of like mob protection, where it's like, yeah, you're having, like in Resistance, you're having trouble with pirates, so, hey, we'll put some forces here to help you, and then the forces just kept being there more and more until no one could stop them if they wanted to do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm excited for that show. There's gonna be a lot of good stuff at the end of the year.
Yeah, so you've got that in October, and
to say the least.
And then in November you've got Mandalorian.
Yep.
Which
that trailer
for now, which looks badass.
It looks really, really good. Some of those shots of like the ships flying over stuff, like you could tell there's something different about them using actual models for these shots, and not it all being CG. I don't know. It just looks so good. I don't know. Yeah, I don't.
There's so many good shots.
Describe
There's so many good shots in that trailer too.
The action looks really good, really well choreographed, and not like, you know how movies nowadays, like blockbuster movies, action is all choreographed to be super, jump cutty and fast, and you can barely keep track of what's going on.
Yeah.
Like this was less of that. It was more purposeful kind of action, but still fast paced. I don't know. That was the impression I got from the trailer.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I understand what you're saying, where it's like action scenes in blockbusters now will be like flash cut to one guy, then cut to the other guy, and then cut back to the other guy, and you're not really. Those guys were probably never in the same room fighting each other. They were just like shooting in a direction, or whatever.
Yeah.
If they were shooting at each other. Whereas this, there's shots where they're like, he takes down like 4 people in like a wide shot of Cantina or whatever that place is, and then that guy that he like chops in half with the iris door.
That was good.
Which so having seen the trailer, it definitely looks as violent as I would hope it would be.
Yeah.
Too. I was wondering, being on a Disney streaming service and being a Disney, this again conversations we've had, how adult was it going to get?
Right.
It's never going to get adult to the point of like gore, I don't think.
HBO level.
Right. But just the fact that they aren't shirking away from outright violence, because it needs to be a Western, like it needs to be violent to some capacity.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah.
But everything they showed with IG-11 and just the action scenes, it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
So many really cool stuff. And so that's what, a month after Resistance comes out.
Something else they announced too was it's going to be on a weekly release schedule.
Right. Yeah. So not the binging model.
Right. So they're not following that binging model. They're going to release a new episode every week, which I think is. Have they announced the lengths, the episode lengths yet? Is this going to be like a 45-minute episode? I think they're
45 1 hour minute 45 minute 1 hour episodes. They're 15-minute shorts.
Weekly.
Yeah, I think they're full like 1 hour episodes.
That'll be really good, I think.
Well,
it'd be interesting.
I've been thinking about that recently.
To chew on that.
Well, one, Disney's doing it because if you want to watch all of Mandalorian, you have to subscribe for at least 3 months. Right?
Yeah,
like that's probably the real reason they're doing it.
Probably,
you can't just jump in and be like, "Hey, I want to watch all of Stranger Things, so let me just subscribe for a month,
and then
just watch everything, and then kill it when you're done."
Right.
So I understand that, but I was thinking about that recently watching a show. Like my wife and I, we love the show Mindhunter.
Yeah.
On Netflix, and the season 2 came out, and we watched all of it in like 2 days.
Yeah.
But I remember watching stuff like Breaking Bad, which is on TV, and watching stuff like Lost and shows like that, where you watch an episode and you're like, "Holy shit, what's gonna happen next?" Not when you had that anticipation, it was annoying at times to have that anticipation.
It ends, and you're left feeling like empty a little bit, but
a little bit, but like it was
you could
fun.
chew on it.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
And you got to chew on it instead of just like.
Okay, empty is the wrong word. You're left feeling, that anticipation. That's more of there's less of a immediate satisfaction.
Right. And there's the frustrating part of like, well, next week I'm busy on Wednesday and I won't be able to see the episode until Sunday, and I'm going to get spoiled on it, instead of just, boofing a season of of Stranger Things so that you don't miss anything, and then you don't care about it at all a week later.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I felt sad the other day when we finished Mindhunter. I'm like, we just watched all of that show in like, I think it was maybe 3 days. I was like, I'm going to forget all of what just happened a week from now. Well, because I wasn't like, I wasn't sitting with it for so long, so it doesn't stick with you as long. Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about enjoying the art of the thing, for over a longer period of time. But I did that with Mr. Robot, the first season of Mr. Robot. I watched it all, all together, binged it. It was a little less. It wasn't like, in a couple days. It was stretched out over a week or so, I think. But then for the second season, I did like week to week, or it was, there was longer in between episodes. And I got more out of the second season and could track more of what was going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was only because of the being introduced to the show with the first season and not really knowing the characters as well. I couldn't really tell, but there was something I got more of out of the second season watching it that way than I did the first season. So yeah, I think it'll be
there's something about like having to sit with something and think about it.
Yeah.
Like being forced to think about it and remember it.
Yeah.
For it to actually stick with you, because I could not tell you what happened in, probably the first half of the second season of Mindhunter.
Really?
This point. No.
See, I binged Stranger Things, the latest season of Stranger Things too, and I remember.
Yeah, for me, that's a different kind of show because
it's not about
that's my kind of show.
Terrible, awful things
yeah.
and that involve children.
You kind of want to forget what happens in most of the episodes, but
anyway,
I'm kind of excited about that. Like, I'm kind of excited about Mandalorian coming out and like having people over to watch it.
Yeah.
Just the idea of doing that. It won't happen. I'll just watch it by myself in my underwear, but no one will ever come over. Who wants to be here while I'm in my underwear?
Because you're in your underwear.
Well,
don't you see
my
the connection
house,
here?
My rules.
There's got to be something that gives if you want somebody to come over.
Yeah, you take off your pants. I'll take off mine. We watch The Mandalorian. That's the rules.
These are the rules.
I'm giving you the freedom to take your pants off. What don't you appreciate about this?
I'm leading.
But yeah, so that'll be frustrating, but also I think it'll be cool to be able to have because like we were talking about like watching Lost. I remember going on forums and people talking about like the episode before the next episode aired and like, what do you think this means and stuff like that. So I can see that happening on Reddit.
Yeah.
Right. Like, when's the last time I've been able to have a conversation about a TV show based off of an episode when someone else hasn't already watched the next 12 episodes?
I would do that with the last season or I did that with the last season of Breaking Bad too.
Yeah. So I think that'll be fun. Well, based off of the internet conversation Star Wars fans have, it could or could not be fun. It could be very horrible and everyone just shitting on it loudly. The shitting.
Mandalorian?
Still,
I don't know.
It's still the internet, right?
Okay, whatever.
I would hope that like the Star Wars subreddit would have, fun and interesting conversations about it and not all just being like, Ryan Johnson, which he has nothing to do with it, but they would of course be yelling at him anyways because that's what we do now. A woman passes across in the background and someone yells about it being Ray's mom. That's where we're at. That's the temperature of Star Wars right now. We're at peak mom.
I saw some meme the other day that was like the theory about Ray, which we'll get to in a second. Or in a second.
There's way more theories about Ray now.
Yeah, we'll get to it a little bit later, but Ray goes back in time and becomes Anakin's mother. Was the theory.
So now she's the mom?
Yeah.
Wow. Who knew that she could be the mom and not everyone else be her mom? It'd be better.
It's a real go-getter situation here.
It'd be better
if you can't have a mom, then go back and be your own mom.
Yeah, it'd be better if she was her own mom.
Yeah.
She was the mom the whole time. She's always been the mom. We didn't need a mom because she was the mom.
The mom was here the whole time.
The mom was inside you the whole time.
The mom's inside the house.
The mom is coming from inside the house. Mom, no. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Now we've got lots of Ray theories to talk about soon.
Bad, horrible internet people and theories aside, yes, I think this will be great.
Yeah. It'll give us something to talk about every week.
Speaking of things to talk about every week,
new show.
Now that we'll have something new, we will have something new now.
Yeah. Which one?
What is it?
Which one are you talking about?
The most important one.
Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, that was expected. I mean, right?
I guess. Well, you asked me.
It's been rumored so hard for so long, and people like very recently too, that he was definitely doing something with them.
And he was always so coy about it, Ewan McGregor. You asked me before they made the announcement if I thought it would be a movie or a TV show. And I swore that it would be a new movie.
And I said it would be a TV show.
Yeah, and you said a TV show, and you were right.
This is why Disney should hire me. For predicting what they do.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll get to that in a second. I think we've both been right about a lot of things lately.
We're right very often.
You were definitely right about this. And I guess it was because I didn't think they were going to be prioritizing this stupid service as much as they are. As much as it sounds like they are.
This is the future of Disney.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
As far
Disney
as
Media.
Disney Media, this is the future of Disney Media. They're putting
a lot
into this. They are banking on this working, and it is not allowed to not.
Yeah. I don't know.
They're doing everything they can to kill any other streaming service to make this work.
Yeah.
I mean, for as cheap as it is too, which is nuts.
The more I think about it, the more I think a TV show there'll be more opportunities for Obi-Wan to explore Obi-Wan's character.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously,
I mean,
with a TV show.
I mean, at most we get 8 hours, or at least we get 8 hours probably.
Yeah.
If it's just like an 8 episode thing,
right?
Compared to an hour and a half, 2 hour movie.
Yeah.
Where you have to speed along one singular story.
And if the budget for the Mandalorian and the quality of how that looks is any indication, this is going to be,
which was what, 100 million an episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Something like that. Something crazy high.
Which is nuts.
Or 10 million episode, maybe 100 million total.
100 million total.
I don't know.
10 million episode.
I can't remember.
Yeah, throwing money at it like that would be great. And with money like that, you can also afford to have McGregor come back and play Obi-Wan.
Right.
Which he's been vocal for, what?
A while now that he's wanted to do it.
10 years that he's wanted to do this.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about it. The only thing they really told us, I guess even it was after the fact, is that it takes place during the same time period as Solo. So 8 years after
8 hours after Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. It's him on the ship flying away from just chopping Anakin up. No, it's 8 years after Revenge of the Sith.
He's just sitting there and there's like elevator music playing. It's just like
do you think we will have a child Luke in the show?
What?
Do you think there will be a child Luke in the show? Do you think we will see Luke as another actor?
Well, that's like his whole goal now. His whole life is protecting Luke. So yeah, I'm sure.
But do we actually interact with him in any way? Or is it just
so Luke knows of Ben. So
he knows of him. The crazy guy lives off in the canyon.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, he would have run into him at some point. Because he seems like he has a rapport there a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What?
No, I started laughing because I thinking of A New Hope and how Luke talks about Obi-Wan. Like, old Ben could have, like, the crazy guy that lives in the.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of the opposite perspective of, like, Obi-Wan's out there, like, always watching over him and making sure he's okay, and the perspective of Luke, his whole life growing up, of this freaky ass weird old man that is constantly staring at him and from a distance. Like, it's a horror story. It's that crazy old lady that lives at the top of the hill when you were a child.
True. I've never really thought about.
Yeah,
the other perspective.
There's that one house in the neighborhood where that crazy old lady lives, and everyone's like, she's a witch. She has to be a witch because her house is on top of the hill, and we can't ride our bikes past her house.
It's the Donnie Darko lady,
right?
That walks in front of the car.
So how much of Luke's life up to 18? How much of his life has he been like trying to avoid this creepy old man that keeps following him around? Like everywhere he goes into town, Obi-Wan's just like peeking around a corner watching him. There's just this crazy old man always there for 18 years.
I like to think that Obi-Wan is trying to be subtle about it.
No, but he's not at all.
It's like not at all.
And they're in the desert too, so I just imagine like Luke's working on the moisture farm and Obi-Wan's just like standing in the distance, just like standing there, just standing, watching him, just staring.
Not even behind anything. It's a complete empty plane, and he's just standing there, but really far away.
And Luke looks over and he just like squats down, but it's still just in the open, just in the middle of nothing. Just squats down. And it's just this crazy old man that's always like a few hundred yards away, just watching his life.
Visible, not hiding behind anything. Yeah.
So we'll get the Obi-Wan story, and then the whole time I'm watching the show, I'm just going to be thinking about the other side of Luke, thinking like, who is this crazy person that lives in the canyon, that's always creeping up on my house and watching me my whole life? I don't know why I've ever thought about that. For some reason, I just imagined that Luke's side was just a horror story. His growing up was a horror story of this creepy old man that lived in the neighborhood.
He has no idea who he is or what he wants. And Owen lets it happen because he knows.
Yeah, but he never tells Luke.
Yeah.
Don't worry about him. That's just old Ben.
Oh,
he's harmless.
He's just a crazy old
He's
man.
harmless. He won't hurt you.
Yeah.
Like he's a veteran. We just
yeah, he's a veteran.
He's a little crazy. He's seen some stuff. He's not gonna hurt you. He has some ideas. Just don't worry about it, Luke. Just keep farming the moisture.
Yeah.
It's just the crazy veteran old man that lives in the neighborhood.
Do you think they have to recycle their pee?
Like in Dune?
Yeah. Do you think moisture farmers feel extra guilty about that kind of thing?
Is that all that term is? Is the moisture farming just them?
It's just pee?
Recycling their bath,
Do you think they feel extra guilty about that kind of stuff?
About peeing? Like they feel bad when they pee?
Yeah.
Oh, my moisture! No!
Imagine if you're a corn farmer and your whole goal is to harvest as much corn as possible and you peed corn.
Honey, get the corn cup!
Would you clean off that corn? That's all I'm saying.
So would you clean off your pee to make it back into potable water?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would hope so. I would like to
We
think.
saw Baru boiling that stuff and there was a bunch of steam coming out and they weren't doing anything with the steam, so
she was adding chunks of plant to it.
Yeah, whatever it was. It was like halved corn cobs with it still with the peel on it and everything.
That's what it looked like.
It was like play school food.
Yeah, I would hope they recycle their pee. This is the questions we need answered in the Kenobi show.
This is why Hokie Religion is here. We ask the important questions.
So what we want out of a Kenobi show is how scared is Luke of Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
And
do you recycle your pee? Those are the only two questions we want to know.
That's all we need. We know everything else.
Please answer those in the first episode. 2020 is when production is supposed to start on that.
Yeah.
According to the announcement. Don't know a release date yet.
No, I don't think they've said much of anything with that.
But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
In other TV show news, Rebel. No, not Rebels. What am I talking about? God.
Gross.
Oh. No. Leave.
Clone Wars?
Clone Wars.
Yes.
The other one, the good one.
the before Rebels.
I mean, that wasn't really announced, but it was announced way before D23.
Yeah.
But
they said they had some stuff. They showed some things about it.
Yeah.
Nothing much really new other than Ahsoka fights Darth Maul.
Yes.
That will happen.
Oh, that was the other thing with Obi-Wan. So the time period for Obi-Wan is, like you said, it's 8 years after Revenge of the Sith. So during the Solo time period.
Right.
That is when Maul is in charge of Crimson Dawn, like we saw in Solo.
Very true.
So
you could run into him.
Yeah. So maybe there's potential for some crossover, like Obi-Wan maybe runs into Crimson Dawn or Maul or something.
I would shit myself and so many other things if Obi-Wan got to fight Darth Maul again.
I mean, I don't know the timeline exactly, but Obi-Wan on Tatooine battles Maul, and that's when he finally kills him. Was there, right? In that Rebels episode?
Yes.
For good this time. Does he like cut him up into pieces? Because it seems like he's been cut before and hurt with a lightsaber, and then he comes back, and that just keeps happening.
Just purposefully.
So does he like just chop him up?
And now this one.
Is it like the Terminator where you have to make sure, like the liquid Terminator, you got to freeze him and then shatter him to make sure he doesn't come back. You got to put him in lava. He's like the Ring.
You have to burn him.
Yeah.
Otherwise he keeps coming back. If you just cut him in half, there's now just two tiny Mauls.
Yeah, he's just like, I don't know.
It's like a Hydra.
Yeah.
Just more Mauls sprout out of the one. Just keeps getting extra legs. Just more spider robot legs.
Do the legs grow a body or do they grow legs? Or do the legs become 4 legs? Or do the legs become a Maul with a little baby body on top?
Like Deadpool?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would prefer Baby Maul.
Okay.
That would be better to see.
So, yeah, so we could see some crossover.
That would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like they wouldn't have set Crimson Dawn up if they didn't have something to say about that, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Or they just set it up as an opportunity, and now they're just like looking around at people who write stuff and be like,
what's his name? Witta.
Gary
Witta. I can't want to say. I was thinking Garrett.
Oh. Close.
Whose son wrote the movie, right? I forget his name too.
Yeah.
Wrote Solo, I'm talking about.
Gary too.
Okay, so Gary too. I remember reading in an interview, Gary too was saying that that he I think he pitched that idea just because he kind of he thought it would be cool to throw in. Like, not that he really I got the impression,
follow up.
Right, not that he really had anywhere to go from there, but that it's a great way to pick up in the future with something, whether it's another Solo movie or also Alden's contract. We've talked about this before.
It was supposed to be for multiple films or things.
I don't know if it was just films or not, but we could see him show up. Who knows? I mean, he
running stuff out of
Mos Eisley. He frequents Mos Eisley apparently. So
that would be really interesting
Han does.
if they bring people like that in.
Yeah. I doubt Obi-Wan would have any interaction there.
Boba Fett?
Maybe. Jabba lives on Tatooine, obviously. We could see some kind of something there.
That'd be interesting.
There's a lot of potential, I guess.
This would be the first thing.
Revisiting that time period. There's a lot of potential.
You could definitely have Boba Fett in that time period.
Yeah.
Especially on Tatooine.
It's a lot of time period that Rebels did not satisfy.
This is true.
I think.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential for that time period. Not trying to do what Rebels did, though, and introduce all these amazingly powerful characters and influential characters, new influential characters, unlike Obi-Wan, who is a character we're familiar with, and know how he fits into the story.
Sad and alone, trying to figure out what to do now.
Well, we know how he fits into the story already. We know that he's part of the future.
Right.
These characters never were, so.
Sure.
And all that wasted potential, we could get like a redo with.
Well, I mean, it's a more interesting story. Like, you've got this guy who is now stuck here because he has to oversee this child, basically.
But is still involved.
Feels obligated to because of what he did.
He's still involved with the Rebel Alliance a little bit.
Yes, but he's also
connected to them a little bit.
But he's also completely disconnected from the Jedi too.
Yeah.
So it's like a much more compelling story of like there's so much things and conflict and personal struggle that there's so much potential there for story that I'm glad we're finally getting it because we haven't gotten that with a proper Jedi that matters.
Jedi that matters, yeah.
Because there's just so much there that emotionally he has to be emotionally wrecked, at this, like he just what do you do?
What do you mean?
Everything you've known is gone. You feel obligated to creep on this child because of what you did to his father and mother.
I don't know. Obi-Wan was never.
You feel responsible for it.
Obi-Wan was never really an emotional person, though.
No, but he definitely feels responsible for what happened to Anakin.
Okay, yes, but again, he's not really an emotional person, so I don't think he really feels that attachment.
I wonder.
I don't know. It seemed like he in Revenge of the Sith, at least, he pretty quickly let go of.
Well, I mean, like one of the last things he told
potential for Anakin to be reconciled.
One of the last things he told him is that he loved him.
He mourned for the lost future of Anakin. Yeah, he mourned for Anakin's potential. But I think he wasn't dwelling on it.
I don't know. We'll see.
I guess we will.
Yep. That's all the TV shows, I think. there probably are like 5 other TV shows.
Do we want to talk about Galaxy's Edge at all, or?
As of recording, it's open.
Well, no, tomorrow,
we haven't
right?
gone. Well, the opening
Tomorrow.
ceremonies have happened, so.
Why do they do the opening ceremonies the day before the park opens? It opens on the 29th. It opens on the 29th.
There was like a
We're recording on the 28th.
nighttime opening, wasn't there?
I don't know about that. I thought it opened early in the morning.
Let me see, because I don't remember.
Anyway, more details where I was going to the cruiser, the hotel. More details were announced about that.
Shit, yeah. That. Oh, baby.
First
no,
of all,
wait a second. The dedication ceremony was today on the 28th.
Okay, well,
Dedicated open.
not
So the
opening.
the big dedication with, I don't know who was.
We dedicate you to money.
all
Champagne bottle.
All the camera people were allowed in for that, but then the real people will be allowed in tomorrow.
Okay.
But yeah, the hotel.
Here's to money.
Speaking about money, the hotel, which looks just sickeningly amazing. Everything about it. It's
Yes.
just
Okay.
Where do you start?
So you start with, it's a Corellian cruiser, which I thought was really cool. That's just a cool detail, I thought. Called the Halcyon.
Mm-hmm.
Has a name.
It does have a name.
You get there, and the whole idea, like we talked about before, is immersion. This is a cruiser that you are flying on for a fixed period of time. Yeah,
it's a cruise. It's a space cruise.
Yeah. So you get there, you can't explore the hotel. This isn't like a normal Disney hotel where you can just go walk around and do whatever you want. This is a special thing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have, a reservation and all that junk. You get there, you get transported in a pod, quote unquote, to the cruiser once you check in and everything. Right. And then once you're there, the ship is yours, basically.
Yeah.
You become part of this storyline over the course of your stay. There's a bridge for the ship. There's a galley, I think. There's this big atrium that they had some concept art for. That apparently there's going to be some kind of show that takes place. Like Kylo Ren, the First Order boards the ship, and Kylo Ren shows up. There's a brig, apparently,
right? Yeah.
For the ship.
Apparently, you can be put in the brig.
There's did I mention the bridge?
Yes.
There's a bridge for the ship where, as part of your story and part of the First Order attack, you can go and contribute to fixing like engineering problems and doing navigation for the ship and manning defenses and all kinds of really cool, crazy stuff. There's a whole engineering section of the ship, which from the concept art looked like a playground, sort of.
Kind of.
For kids.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. There are, I forget how many cabins exactly there are, but the cabins are all obviously themed, just like the rest of the ship. Very like starship themed kind of cabin. It looks incredible inside. It really does.
The windows are screens to space.
Yeah, right. There are captain's cabins, which are a lot bigger. I'm not sure if they showed art for those or not.
There's like Jedi training, like
there's a Jedi training
like
experience.
Lightsaber training. But yeah, like you said, the bridge, learning the ship systems, how to operate them, including navigation and defense.
Yeah. There's going to be alien crew walking around. There's a whole part of the storyline while you're there is, obviously the First Order and Resistance, the battle against them, or the battle they're involved in. Yeah. And a normal cabin, which sleeps 5 people, apparently. Oh, and part of this experience, I think, is a day trip to Batuu.
Yeah, like basically a shore excursion.
Yeah. So you're sent. I don't know if everybody does this together. Everyone that's staying, in a single experience time window. I don't know if they all go together or what, but everyone gets transported to Batuu for the day, and then you come back and finish the rest of your stay. But so a single cabin, normal cabin that sleeps 5 people, costs $3,300.
Yeah. So if you want to go just by yourself, it's going to cost you a little over $1,000 a night.
Yeah,
because it's a 2-day, 3-night, no more, no less. It is 2 days and 3 nights for this experience. You cannot just go and stay at it like a hotel.
So like a cruise, that includes food and drink.
Yeah,
obviously includes room and board. Includes the ticket to Galaxy's Edge,
which is pretty good.
I mean, don't know if that means. I don't know. I don't know if it's like a ticket per person staying in the room, or
I would assume.
I don't know how that works out.
Because
it seems like you would get a better deal if you just fill the cabin with 5 people, because then you get 5
technically,
tickets.
yeah, it's and it breaks down the price into more like 700 and something
per person per night, yeah,
which is obviously a better price than going by yourself, but
700 not per night, but
and they have
for the whole
like
experience.
executive cabins as well that are suites, which I'm sure cost
seat more people,
an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was stuff, explained about it being like basically a live action role playing experience. Where you can interact with the crew and other characters,
right.
And something about depending on whom you choose to befriend on the ship, you might be invited to secret meetings or taken to explore secret locations on the ship.
It's pretty interesting.
So still no word on date. I don't think
for opening
date yet.
Right.
And
I'm sure the pricing is probably subject to change.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a cantina, a restaurant, like just everything. With shows and experiences, and that's obviously what you're paying for, right?
Right.
I mean, if you think about like a 3-night and 2-day, 3-night, 2-day Disney cruise, like an actual Disney cruise on a Disney cruise ship,
it's cheaper than that.
It's not that far off from the price wise.
It's cheaper than that.
Depending on the cruise, yes, and the season.
Well, yeah, I guess if you go on the biggest ship,
right,
and get a nice room and everything.
But yeah, like it's people balk at the price, but if you think of going on a Disney cruise and how expensive Disney cruises are specific to Disney, don't compare it to another cruise line because it's not really the same because you're paying for the experience. It's not that far off price wise, and for how heavily themed and interactive and including a theme park, I kind of get it. I mean, I'm going.
We have to.
I have no choice. This is required by law. I told my wife, I was like talking to her about it and everything. I was like, yeah, and it's like 3,000. It's basically 3,000 for the whole thing. She's like, no. Just the only response I got was no. So we'll see.
We'll see about that.
We'll see how she responds when I do it anyway. I will save up all my pennies.
We'll see.
I'll do all my chores and save all my pennies, and then I'll get to go.
We'll see.
Yeah, going on a cruise without her because she wants no part in this. She doesn't need to see me in that. She doesn't need to know about that.
You in that environment.
She doesn't need to know that side of me.
Well, that's why we have each other at this show.
Yeah, she doesn't need to know about that. Where I go there and I put on my head tails and my my fishnet onesie, and then I go dance for
and you start
money.
Putting chains around people and pulling on them.
Yeah.
Ah!
Those are the secret rooms and meetings that they were talking about. This is just the weird Twilight BDSM.
Can I yank
dungeon.
on Jabba for a while?
It's the Twilight dungeon.
It's the Jabba Yanker room.
Oh. Yeah. She doesn't want to see me in that. Because I was talking about going to Galaxy's Edge. I almost said I was talking about going to Batu, like it's a real place. It certainly is. I was talking about going to Galaxy's Edge, and she's like, "You don't want to go with me the first time?" I was like, "That's not the question." I was like, "Do you want to go with me the first time?" I was like, "Do you want to be there, forced to wait for me while I stare at a wall?"
Yeah,
because that's gonna happen.
Right.
Like, give me an hour. I'm gonna walk into the store and just look.
Do you want
at
me
everything?
Do you want to have to see me cry at
let me wear myself down the first time, like a kid going into Chuck E. Cheese where they just run around and don't stop and don't do anything, and then they fall asleep in the car as soon as you leave. And the next time you go, like they've seen it, they've experienced it, it's not as grand, and they can just enjoy. That's what she needs to let me go. And
they start to see things like the mold on the pizza and the guys touching the children.
She needs to let me go and be hyper and run around screaming first.
And the animatronics that have one eyelid closed.
Right.
Yeah, that stuff.
Yeah, I think I talked her into the fact. She's like, yeah, you should probably just go ahead and go. And then I'll go later when you've calmed down, when you're less moist. I make no promises
about the level of moistness that will be involved.
This is very true. All right. So Batu's happening. The Halcyon's happening. And the Rise of Skywalker's happening. And we're probably at the end of the episode already.
Yeah. Let's spend the next 45 minutes talking about the most important thing in Star Wars right now.
Right. Oh, baby. Is that furiously beating off? Is that what that was? Yeah. Hopefully you've been on the internet in the last 5 days. Because
God help you if you haven't.
No.
You've missed that there's a hurricane coming to Florida on Galaxy's Edge opening night.
Yeah, that's sadly true. But no, we got another teaser / trailer for Rise of Skywalker, which had way more than ever before, and it is the most gorgeous thing I've ever seen. It's beautiful.
Way more than ever before. I will say, when I watched this for the first time, well, you texted me right after I had dropped, right after
you dropped the trailer.
Right after I dropped my kids off at school. Right after I dropped the kids off at school, you texted me, holy shit.
Yeah, that's all I said.
And as soon as I saw that, I didn't see what came after that. As soon as I saw it, I thought, oh no, this is Star Wars related.
Oh no, I missed it.
What if I missed?
Oh no, I'm late. Yeah, I texted, holy
this
shit.
Is Star Wars
and
related.
then my next text was, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Star Wars related.
You just knew. You felt it.
So driving to work.
You felt me screaming from across the state.
Driving to work, I was watching bits of the trailer at red lights and then pausing it and driving really fast to the next red light and just starting it again.
Safety.
Yeah. So, and then I got to work and I watched it again on my computer, but I had chills.
Everything in it was so good.
Yeah.
Just so many just beautiful shots. Like the movie looks gorgeous.
Big moments. Yeah.
And yeah, just those big moments.
Yeah. I don't know where to start with this. There's
rough.
a lot.
So
let's start with the part that we were right. How about we start there?
Yeah. So that giant shot of hundreds
of Star Destroyers.
Thousands of Star Destroyers.
Okay. What have we been saying this whole time?
Since the first teaser.
Since the very first teaser was going to happen with Palpatine and how Palpatine was going to connect to the First Order and Kylo.
Right. This is a giant Imperial Star Destroyer fleet. Those are Imperial Star Destroyers.
Not First Order Star
Destroyers.
Yes. This is a Sith army. This is Palpatine's
and these
forces.
And something someone else mentioned is in this shot, these Star Destroyers have like these red stripes on them.
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing is part of the Sith fleet.
Yeah.
Symbolism or whatever.
And
the one in the original teaser that A-Wing was flying by that we're like, wait a minute, that has to be a Imperial Star Destroyer because of the bridge.
Yeah.
Or the
shield generators.
The shield generators.
Yeah.
Also, someone went back and saw that in a screenshot of that those had the red stripes as well.
Oh, okay.
So they're the same. They're the same Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
So the Star Destroyer we saw in the original teaser that we said had to be an Imperial Star Destroyer based off of the shield generators is the same as these Star Destroyers because they both have the red stripes.
Yes. And they also have what looks like cannons mounted underneath the Star
underside.
Destroyers.
They all have these giant cannons, which I would assume is the rumored
miniaturized Death Star tech
miniature
stuff.
Death Star tech that the Star Destroyers have.
Yeah.
Which I'm assuming that's what we got a shot of in the trailer with that big laser hitting the ground. and like
Probably.
exploding. I'm assuming was one of those miniaturized blasts.
I also noticed too, yeah, so that screenshot you have pulled up there, the lighting for this is the screenshot of when the rebel fleet
when they all come out of hyperspace.
hyperspace
Such
is
a
into
beautiful shot.
Yeah. But that the lighting there is the same kind of lighting that was in the first teaser with the Star Destroyer and the A-Wing.
Right, so they're
that was
probably coming
crashing.
into that battle.
Yeah.
And in that shot, a few things. We've got X-Wings, we've got Y-Wings, we've got
B-Wings.
A-Wings, we've got B-Wings back, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
We've got a ship we don't know what it is
To the right.
on the right-hand side.
And
we
in the
have
middle-
a Tantive.
Yeah.
Which is rumored to be Tantive 3.
Okay. I don't know who owns that or
Which we saw in the trailer as well. Like there was like a cave or something with the main crew, the main characters.
yeah, and you can
with the
see it
big
in the
Tantive,
background.
like parked in the background.
Yeah.
Which was really cool because people keep saying like, "Oh, it's the Tantive 4." I'm freaking out.
Well, there's more than one. Yeah.
Well,
that
because
wasn't the only
Tantive
one.
4 was Leia's, but
Yeah.
canon Tantive 4 has been demolished. It was taken apart by the Empire as just a symbol of.
Well,
power.
they said destroy the ship, didn't they? At the end of A New Hope, when after they captured.
Well, they
it?
made a display of it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember where it was. They said it had been destroyed. The Empire said it was destroyed in a catastrophic meteor collision, but they basically tore the ship apart.
Well, yeah. Vader says send a distress signal out.
Yeah.
That the crew and everyone aboard were killed. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So
Whereas
they got rid of
Tantive
it.
3 was Bale's ship. So the 4 was Leia's. Tantive 3 was Bail Organa's ship during the Clone Wars.
Interesting.
And
it wasn't destroyed on Alderaan?
It was not destroyed, and it was the ship we saw in Revenge of the Sith.
That picked up
as well.
Yoda and everybody,
That picked
right?
up Yoda and everybody. Yep.
Yeah, right.
So it's rumored that like that's this one. Like it's kind of bringing back all the stuff from
Interesting.
from episode 3, right?
Yeah.
Where we kind of left off is kind of like the regrouping of the Emperor and like the Tantive 3 and
Yeah.
stuff like that,
Yeah.
which I think is cool, just symbolically.
Right.
I'm kind of hoping it's the Tantive 3.
So now that we kind of have this confirmation that there's, I think, 100% confirmation that this is a Sith army. These are Palpatine's forces that he sent into the unknown region. I don't know.
That's a shit ton of Star Destroyers, though. Like,
That's
how was
what I'm
there
wondering.
that many?
Yeah, I don't know if they like started if there was like a production facility that was out there,
Right.
or if this is all remnant forces. I don't know. But yeah, that's a ton of Star Destroyers.
Yeah,
But this is obviously some part of
hundreds.
Palpatine's resurgence.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
I mean, it'll be interesting to see, like we've talked in the last few episodes, how they show up and what their allegiance is. Like, how do they just show up and be like, "Hey, we're here now"? Like,
With the First Order being around, yeah.
right? Yeah. What is and I'm still telling you, Allegiant General Pride is not with the First Order. He's with these guys. He has to be.
You still think so?
His uniform is different. He's an older looking dude, like the Imperials. I really think that General Pride is part of this fleet and not part of the First Order. The more that we get that this is like a fully separate group of people,
Yeah.
I can see no other way for him to just be some new character that's part of the First Order that we haven't seen.
Maybe.
He has to be like this important figure from this group. And again, Allegiant General. Like I've been saying from the start, he's Allegiant.
Yeah, that's not a rank we've heard
No,
from the First
he has
Order
allegiance
so far.
to the Emperor.
I guess. I mean, I think it could go either way very easily.
Nope, I'm right.
Okay, well, whatever.
Decided. We have shots of Rey training with the lightsaber in the forest with the training droid,
Yeah,
which is cool.
which it seems like that's when Leia shows up and they have their one-on-one moment.
There they hug it out. Yeah,
Yep.
it'd be interesting if Leia is like training her. Yeah, in the woods,
Yeah.
or helping train her. That'll be cool. She called back her lightsaber like Thor's hammer, as all of the news outlets referred to it as.
I got so angry about that.
I know, that's why I mentioned it.
Thor's hammer. Come on.
Star
Have
Wars...
we all forgotten about the Force?
Right. Yeah. We can
She
only...
calls it Bell like
we
Thor.
can only reference the Avengers now. They did it first.
She's Thor. She's worthy. Ugh, it makes me so angry.
You have to reference other IPs.
Yeah.
To an IP that already has a reason for why that's happening.
To understand what's going on in a scene. Come on. Give me a break.
Yeah. We have a shot of C-3PO with red eyes, which confirms all of the discussions that have been about C-3PO going Rambo.
I don't know what that's meant to say, though.
And even Anthony Daniels was saying how C-3PO takes
he does something he's never done before.
He does something he's never done before and takes a lot more. He's a lot more front and center than he's been up till now. So yeah, he's got his red glowing eyes, which we had that leaked promotional material where he had the bandolier on with the bowcaster.
Yeah.
So
I wonder what's up with that.
All that seems confirmed. He looks like he's in the Matrix ship in just like this shitty room with wires hanging around.
No, it looks like Jabba's palace is what it kind of reminds me of.
Maybe a little bit. So it seems like he's jacked into something, and that's why he has the red eyes.
I know kung fu.
Well, isn't the assumption that he connects to something, either his previous memory, because his memory was wiped.
Yeah.
R2 wasn't, but C-3PO was
after
wiped.
Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's been talk of him like getting his memories back.
Although he remembers being in the Clone Wars, which that was always interesting to me.
Parts of his memory, I guess, were wiped. I wonder.
Huh.
So the rumor is they get to the Tantive 3 and he gets his memories back. That's one rumor.
Really?
Because his memory would have been wiped on the Tantive 3 because that's
were
they
I mean there's a line on there that says like somebody gives Captain Antilles the droids.
Yeah.
But C-3PO and R2-D2 and says have their memories wiped.
Yeah. So the rumor is his memory is on the Tantive 3, and if that's coming back, obviously that makes sense for him to get his memories back.
That's really interesting. Huh. Yeah. Is
But
that when his eyes turn red? Is when he gets his memories back?
Oh, the things I've seen!
The places I've flown!
It's just the PTSD setting in.
The bodies I've had my head on.
I did what? I mean, that doesn't make sense for his eyes to be red. I mean, some people have talked about, like, what about that droid virus that was in the Last Shot book, which that's too off base, I think, for it to be brought into the film.
Yeah, it's a pretty obscure reference.
That'd be a lot to have to explain in a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I wonder what he taps into. I mean, I've been thinking about that recently. Like, what if he taps into Operation Cinder or a Sentinel's memories or something?
I don't know. And there's a lot of places you could go with it. I mean, whether he taps into something and unintentionally becomes an evil thing.
I don't think he's evil so much as he just
his programming
seems empowered.
So he's Bane.
Yeah, he just juices and he's now just super strong.
Yeah. Okay.
C-3PO takes
Jekyll
the
and
juice.
Hyde kind of thing, I guess. Oh yeah, or maybe his programming is altered.
Just like, oh my. For the rest of the movie, he's just talking like Batman.
Oh me. Yeah. Okay.
The odds of that happening is 3,000 and whatever to 1. He's just constantly growling.
So that's what that feels like.
Yeah, it's from a plot point.
Rachel. Rachel. Rachel.
As much as I love those movies, they're so ridiculous.
Rachel.
It just sounds like he's dying constantly. Poor Batman. From a storytelling, from a plot point, like I can't so far, I don't have any. I like. There's no clue as to what C-3PO's deal would be. Right.
Yeah, that's what I said. It could be any number of things. I think
even the stuff we have and the rumors we have about Palpatine and all that with Rey and Kylo and Palpatine.
Yeah.
Don't seem tied to this at all.
To 3PO.
To whatever's happening with 3PO.
Yeah. Well, we don't know
so
that
far, right?
yet, yeah.
Like I can't tie it to anything yet. So
yeah.
It's hard
So it doesn't matter. Who cares?
It's hard to guess. I still want there to be Sentinels in this movie.
Yes.
Referenced to or seen. Either way, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool if he like gets the information from a Sentinel.
I mean, if this has
Project Cinder.
Yeah, if this has anything to do with Palpatine's plan for after the Empire, if it ties into that in any way, I think the Sentinels have to be involved. There has to be mention of Operation Cinder and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I would think.
Cinder's going to be referenced in a movie. It has to be. Because all this is happening. This is all part of Operation Cinder. This has been planned forever.
Yeah.
It's always been the plan.
Yeah.
Things we've seen
sending the
now,
remnants into the unknown regions.
Like the other two movies don't even matter anymore because it was all just a game of Palpatine, right? Like it was just it was.
What
just
do you mean? Force Awakens and Last Jedi don't matter?
They don't not matter, but at the same time, it was like nothing was in context yet, right?
Yeah.
Like what we've seen is not once we've. I really do feel that once we've seen this movie, the other two movies will have a much greater context.
I hope so.
That we were missing.
That's the idea, I guess.
And not that we needed that context for those movies, but I think we will be able to watch them in a new light.
Yeah.
And be like, holy shit.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so.
Especially once we get talking about Palpatine a little bit. There's a lot of stuff that can change a lot of things in the films with Palpatine.
Yeah.
We've got Kylo and Rey fighting
on what looks like the Death Star.
Yeah, on the
wreckage.
Death Star. There's on the left-hand side, when on that shot, there's a one of the turbo laser batteries.
Oh yeah,
from the Death Star, which is pretty sweet. That fight scene looks sick with the water raging around them.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Which just again, there's so many shots, like the shot of the Star Destroyers, the shot of the Resistance fleet flying in, even the shot of them coming in the desert, coming up to
I forget the name
Burning
of that
Man?
planet. Yeah, it does look like Burning Man.
I mean, it looks like Burning Man. I mean, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful Burning Man. It's a lot less dusty and hairy armpits. And the shot of them fighting on the Death Star, there's just so many gorgeous shots, like those wide, beautiful shots.
Yeah.
And that planet has a name, and I cannot recall it off the top of my head at all. Trying to think, we don't really have much with Finn in the trailer, at all. And then the trailer is basically the voiceover of Luke talking that then morphs into the Emperor talking.
So going back real quick to before we get into the Emperor stuff, going back real quick to the Allegiant General, that big article, the EW article that was released a little while ago that had a bunch of information about like Kerry Russell's character and this new desert planet. I don't remember. It's in here somewhere. Naomi Aki's character, all that junk. They say Richard E. Grant is a First Order villain named Allegiant General Pride.
Maybe.
That's why I keep going back to that thinking, why would they say that specifically?
They've said stuff incorrectly before.
Yeah, I guess. They have. I just think it could very easily go both ways.
He might be working with the First Order.
This could be a Sentinel-controlled fleet, for example.
That'd be weird. It's just hundreds of little Palpatine droids floating around doing everything.
It could be.
Standing at the water cooler.
Just staring at each other with no faces on their masks. It could be, though.
Just splashing water under their dome face because they don't have any way to drink.
Pasana. That was the desert planet.
Pasana.
Anyway. Splashing water in their faces.
And then the most important thing in the world happens at the end of the trailer with a dark Rey Darth Ray is what she's being called on the internet right
Darth
now
Ray.
that I've seen. Darth Ray with a double-bladed lightsaber that we've actually seen before in Rebels. There's like
the Sentinel, not the Sentinel guards, but the Jedi Temple.
The Jedi Temple guards have them, where they're a double-bladed lightsaber that are like basically
fold in half,
pronged lightsaber that both blades come out the top, and then they unfold like nunchucks. Basically, you can kind of whip them out into a Darth Maul-esque double-bladed lightsaber.
Yeah.
Which she has, and the sound, like just watching it, even in I watched some slow-mo gifs of it, just like the hefty click that it has when it whips out. It just, you can feel, like you can see the weight of it, which looks really cool.
That's what happens when I take off my pants too.
Just the heft. You can see it click.
I can see it click.
Oh no!
It clicks into place.
You should get that joint checked out.
You know, that doesn't happen for you.
Oh. Well, what's wrong with your penis knuckle?
Oh. When you put it that way.
Well, you ain't got a dong knuckle?
Sometimes you gotta crack it. Okay.
The title of this episode cannot be Dong Knuckle.
No,
It just can't.
No, it can't.
I want it,
as much as I want that to be the episode
I want
title.
the episode title to be called Dong Knuckle. But we
will lose the last listener that we have.
I think they won't let it be
We're
listed.
already past an hour and still talking about Rise of Skywalker.
They won't let the episode be. I don't think the internet would. I don't think
They
Apple
won't. No.
would allow it to be called Dong Knuckle. But that's going to be the alt title in the description.
Okay. No. It can't.
Oh, I've lost it.
It
Anyways.
can't do. It can't do.
Darth Ray. Darth Ray is hot fire. It's beautiful. Everything about it is fantastic. There's so much to talk about in this scene. Like the background, like people were talking about it being a cave or whatever, but the walls in the background are like this onyx, like
it looks
flat
like
walls.
You mentioned Vader's castle
Like
to
it
me at one
could
point.
be Vader's castle.
It could be.
Which would be very interesting if they're going on this adventure around
Yeah.
the galaxy. That would be an interesting place to be.
Yeah, and everyone's saying, which I agree, that this is a vision. It's some
Right.
kind of projection of whether it's the Emperor's doing or maybe just the dark side of the Force or something. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, we know that Rey easily taps into the dark side. She doesn't really have the discipline to.
Well, it's like Luke. I mean,
Control.
it's like Luke in Return of the Jedi, and even Empire.
I think it's different, though. I think there Luke was provoked because of the situation he was in.
I guess.
To
But he had to confront.
tap into
he had
his
to
anger.
confront the dark side in the cave, right?
Yeah, but in Rey's training with Luke, like Rey kind of just freely explored all aspects of the Force, including the dark side, and it scared Luke.
Yeah,
in the
that
same way
that
that
she had so much freedom without.
in the same way that Ben kind of did the same thing. He didn't. He let his emotions get the better of him, and Luke saw that darkness out. That potential in him.
So
I think this could be like
it's a vision.
that
it's a
aspect
vision
of Rey maybe being projected out.
So the current rumor that I think I agree with is one: if you slow this down, slow that down because it's such a fast scene. If you slow it down in the bottom right hand corner, you see something move.
Yeah,
it looks like a brown cloak of some sort,
Yeah.
which is like what Rey has. The rumor and the direction it moves is in like the opposite direction of what the mirrored image moves. So the assumption is it's like another mirror vision.
Mhm.
So like Rey saw herself in the mirror before in the dark side. It's like so the theory is that this is like another mirror vision of hers, of seeing herself in a mirror in another light.
Interesting.
Which is cool. Which I wonder how much of that may be Palpatine again influencing things. Because there still is this overarching thought of Palpatine being basically like a spirit up till now that's flowing through the Force and controlling things.
Yeah.
And how much of this he's controlling.
Yeah.
Because on her finger is a ring. On that ring is a black rock. That ring is the same finger that Snoke has a ring on with the black rock. The black rock that is Vader's castle, It's the piece from Vader's castle on Mustafar. So the current theory or rumor, I guess that's been happening too, is that Snoke was a Sith artifact collector. That's why he's so opulent and weird.
Yeah, okay.
And that he was over, and this is something I've mentioned on previous episodes, is what if Snoke was actually under the control
Palpatine's
of Palpatine?
control, yeah.
And that Snoke was controlling, or that Palpatine was controlling Snoke, basically through the power of the darkness of possibly the ring of the Force and dark power that was within that.
Yeah.
And with that theory, seeing this picture of Darth Ray or Dark Ray, with a black rock ring on the same finger, and the fact that Episode 9's working production title was Black Diamond, that was the title they were using before they wanted people to know what the movie was that they were shooting. And it was called Black Diamond, which is they usually name them based off of something to do with the movie.
Okay, well,
in some way,
okay,
they do. I don't know. I find that very interesting.
Yeah.
Of a thread to follow.
Yeah.
Especially if Palpatine's facilitating this vision, seeing that black rock ring on her finger as part of his vision is his way of controlling her. Even though it's not to her, it probably means nothing. But he's presenting this because he basically
influencing her.
He basically wants her as a vessel for controlling.
Maybe. So 2 things. One, Snoke's ring, yes, had an obsidian black whatever jewel on it, but it was a completely different ring style.
Well,
it was a gold ring.
It was a different ring. I'm not saying they're the same rings. Also, his fingers were like giant sausages.
Yeah, right.
They would go on Rey's forearm.
Right. 2, Last Jedi's working title was Space Bear. So I don't know how much the working titles really apply to the content of the movie.
Not in all of them, I guess. But I like that thread to follow, though, of Palpatine controlling people and controlling the situation, because that's something I brought up before. Is
I think that anything, that's it's a projection of just the dark side of the Force, and Palpatine's obviously involved in that. I think it's a vision of if Rey were to follow that aspect of her, follow that path completely, she would end up being, as a consequence of that, one of Palpatine's servants. Sure. And Palpatine would end up controlling her.
Right. But the more I think about this stuff, I really do think Palpatine was controlling Snoke. I'm 100% on board with Snoke was under some control of Palpatine in some way.
I wonder.
I do not think it makes sense otherwise.
I could get on board with that if Snoke wasn't so sure about his decisions. He really seemed like he thought he was in control.
Because it's Palpatine.
I guess.
So, because that's been the whole thread as well, is that Palpatine is even possessing people.
Yeah.
Right? That's supposed to be everyone is hell-bent on the fact that Matt Smith is definitely still in the movie.
Yeah.
And that he is going to be possessed by Palpatine. That's in every rumor thread and every theory that Matt Smith is an acolyte that does get possessed by Palpatine, and that Palpatine's trying to do the same to Rey or Kylo. And if that's been his MO, is possessing or controlling people through the Force, especially if it's been from acolytes, and having if Snoke was a Sith artifact collector and he had this Vader castle ring on his finger, I could see that being an in for Palpatine to use him. How would Snoke exist and have that power otherwise? So far, obviously, we have no explanation. We have no explanation for Snoke.
That's the big question.
And now that we have Palpatine, thinking about the fact that Snoke was part of JJ's story and Palpatine is part of JJ's story, I really do think that is a thread he's following through on, where Snoke was always just a red herring. And now we're going to see that Palpatine was behind it from the beginning, including Snoke. That Snoke shouldn't have these abilities, because how would someone have those abilities if not being a Sith? Or you can't just be a dark side user and shoot lightning out of your fingers and control people the way he does. I don't think. That's a lot of power for somebody that just like came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm like I would put money on the fact that Snoke was
All right.
under the control of Palpatine.
I don't agree with that yet. I don't think I've seen enough to say that Snoke was anything beyond just a powerful guy.
How? How would he just be? How would that just happen?
How did that happen for Ben? I mean, it's just people are born that way. I don't know what he is or
Maybe
where he
it's
came
Maybelline.
from. I don't know what he is or where he came from, but I think it's the same kind of line of thinking you're going down as saying like Rey has to be a Skywalker. Like she doesn't have to be a
saying
Skywalker.
that. I mean, she has to have a mom.
She can. She's her own mom. Remember?
Right.
She goes back in time.
Did I break it? Did I break you?
I just like the idea, that meme, that Rey goes back in time and is Anakin's mom.
So
where is Shmi? What is Shmi in this theory?
Right.
Are you completely forgetting how Anakin was born?
Yeah, that doesn't make
Anyway. Anyway.
Right. Anyways.
To say that Rey has to be a Skywalker because that's the only way she could be so powerful, I think that's the same thing here in a different way of saying the only way Snoke could be as powerful as he is because Palpatine's controlling him. I don't think it has to be that way. I think both can be.
I guess so.
I think they can both exist separately for different reasons. You know?
But, yeah. So, yes, so that could happen, sure. But then what is his big deal with Luke?
I don't know. I wish I knew.
Like everything that he's involved
I want them
in,
to explain that.
Everything that he wants and is doing seems very much like what Palpatine would want and would be doing.
His obsession with so he's obsessed with creating the next Vader. And I don't know if Palpatine was as obsessed with Vader as Snoke seemed to be. Palpatine was as obsessed with Plan Bs. You know?
Right.
Not the drug.
So he doesn't want there to be moms. He's anti-mom. That's why no one has moms. Palpatine just not allowing moms.
This is the anti-mom movie. No one's allowed to have a mom.
Mars doesn't need moms. So, but yeah, I mean, I wonder because again, I really do. I'm on board with the possession.
Snoke is Ezra.
I'm on board. I'm on board with Palpatine's thing being possession and basically finding a host. I think he's trying to build another Vader to have as a host because of the overarching theme that is in all the theories and rumors of him possessing and controlling people.
Yeah.
So one, I like that storyline. I like how that could play out and how that could be part of the plan.
The possession.
Basically, he's been trying to find a host or create a host that is the perfect host. And I think that would be a cool thing to follow through. And all the little hints of things here and there that could lead to that, I think, are cool.
Yeah.
And I think it would be an easier way to explain Snoke than having to explain Snoke.
So you're saying it's an easy out. This is what this is.
Unfortunately, yes. But how are they going to explain Snoke and then also get into all this Palpatine stuff in a movie?
I don't know. That's the thing. If I go with my theory and say that it's not a possession thing, that Snoke is a separate entity with his own plans and everything, that I fully admit that's harder to explain. I don't know how they would explain
in a film, especially.
I agree
there's not
that
enough time.
I agree that your theory is easier to explain, but
thanks.
I don't know if that makes it.
I mean, so they would. Here's the
True.
deal, right? And this is why I'm definitely on board with the Palpatine stuff. So one again, Snoke was JJ's, Palpatine is JJ's. I think there's a reason. I think he had a thread that he's trying to follow up on.
Yeah.
He has a responsibility to explain Snoke. I think he obviously had a plan.
I
He had
agree
a
with
plan
that.
for Snoke that was probably derailed, somewhat, unfortunately,
Maybe.
in one way or another. But I think he has I think he knows he has a responsibility to explain Snoke.
Maybe, yeah.
So I think the movie has to explain Snoke.
I think so.
And I don't think there's a way to explain Snoke in a, was it 2-hour movie?
2.5 or something.
2.5 hour movie that's focused on a lot of stuff with Palpatine to have to explain Snoke and then also explain what's going on with Palpatine. I think they have to be related for a storytelling and film experience to flow. I think it unfortunately has to be that way, whether we like it or not.
Maybe.
But I would just like the fact that Palpatine's basically been touching everything, and no one's known.
Yeah,
because that's so badass. Just everything about just any idea of Palpatine having been in control of all of this just makes me so happy.
Yeah,
because everything with all of that stuff with Operation Cinder and his like long-term plan is so cool.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. There's not much else. Zori Bliss has a history with Poe. That's the only other thing that I can think of. She has a checkered past with Poe.
Oh my.
Maybe she's Poe's mom.
Is that what you say when someone's your mom? We have a checkered past.
Yeah. Yeah, she has a checkered past. She says, like Carrie Russell was saying, I think the entrance of Zori is there to sort of describe more of who he was, in a very intimate way, in a familiar way. There are friends, and and what his friends are sort of like, like and his friends are sort of like, what do you mean you know him? Like what? So I don't know. I guess character development for Poe, other than being fussy to Leia.
Yeah. High maintenance.
Yeah. So that's
basically the doomsday of the entire resistance.
Yeah.
It's all his fault.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
Pretty much. Without him, we wouldn't have seen the holdo maneuver, though. So
yeah,
there's that.
The holdover maneuver.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Zori. That's all we got for her. She's new. She knows Poe. The end. She's
nothing
not Palpatine.
Nothing new about Naomi Ackie.
No.
I did see an interview with Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, and Kelly Marie Tran. I think it was IGN or something, where they were asked about Palpatine, and all three of them essentially said the story for Palpatine makes complete sense in this movie. Like it doesn't feel like it was rushed. It doesn't feel like it's kind of just shoved in there. Everything makes sense about everything that's happened with the First Order, and
that's good.
They were kind of scant on details, obviously, but that it's all very thought out and it all makes sense, and etc. It was really, really exciting to read that. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, and especially Kelly Marie Tran, she seemed to be really excited about this story, that storyline, Palpatine's storyline.
That's what I mean. Everyone that's talked about the script, even Hux, I can't remember. Domhnall Gleeson was talking about reading the script and how he was just like amazed at it. Just how all of them were just like, this is fantastic. And I think Carrie Russell said she cried when she read the script, right?
Yeah.
So it's everyone that's involved seems contractually obligated to be happy about it, but also they
paid lots of money.
They seem legitimately enthused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 months. You got 4 months of this stupid movie.
150, maybe less than 150 days, 140 something days,
something like that.
Yeah. Oh man. And I'm sure we'll get it. I mean, because that still wasn't a trailer.
It was a special look, it was called.
Yeah. So we've had a teaser.
Yeah.
And we've had a special look that was part of a retrospective of the other films too.
Yeah, only half of it was new footage.
Right. So do we still get a trailer? Like a legit actual trailer that shows on television? Or will this just be turned into the trailer for TVs? Like, will this be cut down to be shown on television for a trailer.
No, I don't think they would say special look and then have it be a trailer. I think we're
So
going
we
to get a trailer
still are due for a trailer.
I think so.
And then in October?
Yeah, I'd say that's a safe bet that we're going to get something else. For sure.
Man.
More.
Maybe we'll see Palpatine. Or Force Luke.
Oh, boy. Yeah, it's true. We haven't seen Luke at all yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the movie.
JJ's always very secretive about Luke.
Yeah. We're just not going to see him again.
What if he's back on the island in the same thing and we find out Luke is just like a program and this is all the Matrix?
Just a hologram.
It's just reset.
He was always dead.
Yeah.
His crashed X-Wing.
That's why he never left the island.
That's just
he's a hologram.
It's Space Lost. Great.
Oh no, he's doing it again.
JJ's just gave us Space Lost.
Oh my god, if he does this again with the best
ultimate troll.
The biggest franchise.
The end of the movie is just that boom of the Lost logo at the end.
But Star Wars. Oh no, it doesn't say Lost.
Yeah, it says Lost.
This has all just been a Lost episode.
And then Hurley wakes up. It's like that end of that movie where everything happened in a snow globe, or that show that everything happened in a snow globe.
Yeah.
What was it? I can't remember the name of the show. It'll be that, but for Lost. It will just be, this would have all have been just a Lost tangent. No, Luke actually died when his X-Wing crashed on that island because his X-Wing's in the water.
Yeah.
So he crashed and died.
Yeah.
He's been
his
dead.
body's down there.
He's been dead on the island the entire time.
Yeah.
All of that was a Force ghost.
Yeah.
From the start.
And so he's just back on the island.
We just saw him disappear because he was just going to sleep. Like that's just what he does when the sun sets. Right. He just goes back into forciness. He recharges his fortitude and he comes back the next day refreshed.
Yeah.
Or the first time he's pole vaulted over that canyon, he just fell straight down into the water and died. Right? That's how he died.
And then pop back onto the tip of it.
Shit. I have seen that theory that Luke was a Force ghost the entire time.
No, that's a real theory.
I have seen that theory.
Oh, fuck you.
I don't agree with it, but I have seen that theory. That would be very JJ, though, to have him be dead the whole time.
He was dead the whole time.
Some would say lost. All right, this has gone on for far too long, I'm sure. I haven't looked, but I'm sure it's too long. Oh, God.
It's gone on so long that the laptop crashed twice in the middle of the recording.
You guys need
The game
to
is
stop.
to find when it crashed. Tell us the timestamps of when it crashed. And if you're right, we'll
tell you.
Yes.
Yeah, the GarageBand just basically just tries to tell us you should just stop. It's enough.
We've thought up until now that it's just the software, but I think it's a warning that they're just trying to be helpful, that we just need to stop the show.
This is enough.
We're hearing everything that's being recorded. I think it's time.
It's time.
It's time to be done.
Speaking of time to be done, it's that time.
Okay, good. Nice one.
I segued.
If you enjoyed the show, follow us on Twitter at our new Twitter handle, Hokey Podcast.
It's us. We're a podcast. We're hokey.
Because the other one won't.
Doesn't have an underscore.
Yeah, which is better. But the other person won't give us their
If they would
handle.
just delete their thing or die, what happens to your Twitter when you die? Does it just instantly
Stays
free
forever.
up? Oh,
Nope.
no.
All your tweets. They stay forever.
What if we can prove they're dead and tell Twitter?
I killed them.
No. Anonymously.
See, here's the knife.
Just mail them a bloody knife in an envelope.
They're dead.
To
I
Jack.
promise.
Jack Dorsey gets a bloody knife in an envelope. Can I have Hokey religion, please? He's dead now.
Here's the proof.
There can only be one. This is a Highlander.
Here's a picture.
This is a Highlander situation, right? Like I'm the new Hokey religion. I get to be him now that I killed him. Yes, Hokey Podcast. On
Follow us
Twitter.
on Hokey Podcast.
You can
Send us your tweets.
Yep. no one really does. One to
not
two
anymore.
of you.
1 to 2.
1 or 2 of you.
Yeah.
Depending on the month. You can reach us via email at asklobot@hokireligion.com, which is something no one does either.
No, nobody does any of this.
It has been a while.
Something else you could do
get emails.
that no one has done in a while is review us.
Yes.
On iTunes.
If you enjoy the podcast and have not reviewed it on iTunes, please go and leave the amount of stars you deem appropriate, which is possibly 5.
Yes.
It's an option.
Potentially 5 or more.
Please understand, 5 is an option. But yeah, if you haven't, please do. That helps people find the podcast so that you don't have to verbally tell them about it because you're embarrassed.
I think we've reached saturation at this point, but
probably.
Hey, tell somebody new and then.
What is this podcast if not saturated?
Yep, that's true. Oversaturated. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
What
else do we have?
If you really enjoy the podcast, you can go to patreon.com/hokireligion and support us monetarily with dollars through the internet. You can shove them right.
Have
in the
you
internet.
heard? You can send $1 through the internet.
It's quite.
It's
possible.
big enough.
If you support us with $2, was it $2.50? We'll send you a free sticker, which basically you're paying for a sticker because
stamp.
Yeah, the stamps are $2.50.
If you don't want to think about it that you're buying a sticker, if you would rather think about you're getting a free sticker, then say you're buying a stamp. Maybe that helps.
Sure. But yeah, you can support us there to help financially contribute to the show so that it lessens the.
Like we said at the beginning of the episode, the only reason we continue to do this is because we bought the equipment.
There's hosting costs and stuff like that.
No, I'm saying we bought the equipment. We need to pay this back.
There's the
mental taxation,
mental reparations we require from recording these.
Yes, $1 each, please. That's enough to fix my brain.
What's left of it. All right, that's enough of this show. We will be back
with episode
next time
100 and next one. Goodbye. Or not. Let me play the music. Goodbye.
Hokie religion is an ancient weapon. Weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side.